No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. What is up? It is the Perfect Play Pursuit. We are back off the heels of the worst card possibly in UFC history. We will talk all about it. Dan will be here any second. He's got a new laptop. He's logging in. Don't worry. He's not leaving us high and dry like last weekend. It will be a very big episode because we've got a surprise special guest, somebody who's fighting in just a few months, a couple months from now, UFC 309, the only fight that has been announced. And I'll wait. I'll tease it. I'll let him show up and surprise everybody. But he'll be here at the top of the hour. Alex and I are going to run through last week's shit card. 7 decisions, 3 submissions. Does it get any worse than that? I didn't watch it. Dan and I were actually at a wedding together. We were both groomsmen in a wedding, and we didn't watch a single fight. The wedding got started about 6 o'clock, so I didn't see a single fight. I'm going to let Alex take us through his thoughts on what I've heard from the Peanut Gallery and the Grapevine. Worst card of all time.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either.
Oh.
I didn't watch it. I saw one fight of the entire night, and it was one of the fights that sunk one of my parlays. It was Gregorgino, whatever the fuck that dude's name is, fighting Kamzama. And he knocked Kazama down right away. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be great. I'm going to get a win. And then I look up not 2 seconds later and he's caught in a triangle choke, gets submitted, fight's over. Yeah, absolute terrible fight, especially being the only one I watched. And I think the rest of the time I was at the bar, there was a lady fight up there, so I wasn't paying much attention to it, wasn't paying much mind to it. But no, other than that, didn't watch any fights, didn't win any money, only put in 2 parlays, lost both by 1 leg. Spivak spoiled my party, and so did Georgino.
So I won some money, as you guys can see. Last week I was down minus $200. This week I'm up over the threshold of 0 to positive 214.73. I won $473, and I won even more, but I lost some too. Obviously, some bets too lost, but that was the net profit of the night. If you guys are just kind of tuning in for the first time, this is the Perfect Play Pursuit. We pursue the perfect parlay every single week. But this year, in our 5th season, we're running a new gimmick, which is we all started with $1,000 in the bankroll. We're seeing who can win the most money by the end of the 5th year. We're seeing our season goes from May to May. May 9th, when Tony Ferguson fought Justin Gaethje, when we started this show in 2020. And that's kind of our, first event of the year is in May. And then we're running it. Whoever wins the most money by next May wins half of the other two's remaining amounts. I mean, Alex is in no danger. He's down 300. So,
not remaining amounts.
Yeah, profit. So I've brought my total up to about $4,000 at one point. I was going big. I was trying to just continue to compound and double all my winnings each week. I busted out. I've gone back down. I've gone negative. Now I'm back in the positive. So we're building back better. But I didn't watch the fights, but I threw some money on the underdog Yanat Deniz against Carl Williams, and then took some of those profits while I was still at the wedding and rebuilt a 2-leg parlay, Chepe Mariscal and Sergey Spivak. That hit as well. So about $400 total, brought me back up from negative 200 into the positive range now. Now I'm playing with a little bit of dry powder for this weekend. UFC 305, Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. Got to be smart, got to be strategic, not trying to give it all back, trying to get back up above the $1,000 mark and continue to keep this train rolling. I heard some things about the card. We're not going to sit here and talk about a card we didn't watch. We have a special guest joining the show very soon. But overall, I heard it was really shitty. And I saw the results, obviously. I heard Jason Herzog was up to no good as per usual. I heard that not only did he, he's known for stopping the Jared Cannonier fight too early, right? With Amavov, before Cannonier's butt even hits the ground. But apparently, Alex, Chepe Mariscal was beating the ever-loving dog shit out of Damon Jackson to the point where it was like some Jalen Turner, Bobby Green shit. And he never was even close to stopping it. It went all the way to a decision, let Damon Jackson take a whooping in there. And that was one of the more obvious ones on the card to me. I just didn't think that Damon Jackson was going to be able to be hearty enough against a guy like Mariscal. I didn't think that his frame, his lankiness. His only path to me was kind of grappling and jiu-jitsu, and it just wasn't really in my mind's eye as a possibility. And apparently it wasn't. Like I said, didn't watch, but we got some picks for you for UFC 305. I'm really excited about this card. Du Plessis versus Adesanya. We also got Josh Quiblau versus Ricardo Ramos, Tai Tuivasa, Dan Hooker, Kai Kara France. All the usual suspects floating around Izzy's nutsack, hanging on, and they're going to be here this weekend in New Zealand. Normal start time, 10 p.m. pay-per-view. We're going to get you those picks in just a second, full card top and bottom. But any other news, hot topics you wanted to address real quick before our guest gets here, before Dan gets back in?
No, nothing over here, really. Conor McGregor telling Michael Chandler that he's not going to fight him if he keeps yapping.
Yeah, hilarious. Well, they announced that that Topuria and Holloway is set for Abu Dhabi.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to give a little early prediction for that. I'm thinking, dude, I think that Topuria is going to fucking knock Max Holloway out, dude.
Wrong.
I know you're a big Max guy. We're all big Max guys here. I'm a Hawaiian at heart. Max Holloway, we've met. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the same thing with the Mariscal Damon Jackson thing, where I'm like, I don't see Max having the stopping power. And you could say he had it against Justin Gaethje, but I don't see him having the stopping power to put a young guy like Topuria out with one shot. I don't see him being able to avoid Topuria's stopping power over the course of the 5 rounds. And most importantly, people want to say that I was watching Chael Sonnen in DC, and DC was like, yeah, Max, he hasn't been in that many wars. Never heard a more untrue statement in my life. Max has the record for most significant head strikes absorbed in the UFC. He's been hit more than quite literally anybody in the UFC active roster. So I don't know what else to say about that. He clearly has taken damage over his career, and I think that's going to pay. It's going to kind of pay dividends in the Topuria fight. What the fuck? That's Dan's executive assistant over there getting him set up on the fucking.
Who was that? What the hell?
We're live, just to let you know.
I know.
Okay.
Someone broke in. Some hot chick just broke into my apartment.
Your icon, it was just black, so I clicked it and it brought in it, and then it didn't come up like to show that it wasn't you until it was.
Yeah.
So.
New laptop, folks, so we're not gonna have some reverberating echoes and all that. But yeah, I had to download the old Chrome. My old lady knows a lot more than me. Here we are.
Well, shout out to Dan. What's up, man? Yeah, we were at a wedding together on Saturday. How were you feeling on Sunday, dude? I was fucking hungover.
Not great. Speaking of the old lady, she had a birthday party that I was kind of, hosting and doing whatever. So a lot going on this weekend. Had a chill day today.
For her
Back
birthday?
on the grind. What's that?
For her birthday?
Her birthday, yeah.
Dude, I had some anxiety. I had the Sunday scaries. I'm still dealing with it. Honestly, I'm not feeling good even today. When you're in your 30s, it's like it's a 2-3 day recovery from having upwards of. I had 6 drinks before the wedding even started.
You left the wedding early.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So between the hours of 6 p.m. and 10 p.m., I probably had 20 drinks.
I know.
No exaggeration.
I'm with you.
Sunday was rough. Sunday was really, really rough. But we're here. I did my tape study, obviously, and I broke everything down with a fine-tooth comb. You hear about any updates from the fight night? How did you do money winnings and losings wise, Dan? You win any money?
Oh, I lost $25.
25. Okay, so
you know what? I'm changing up my whole bet scheme here because the losses are just not sitting well with me. Here's what I'm gonna do. And I saw your winnings. I'm like, this guy bet on 2 fights and he just put $100 down, like 2 of the most predictable fights on the card, and won $300. So that is the way I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take my total allotment, just put it on like 2 or 3 fights, some pretty safe plays, build myself back up. I gotta update my my score sheet here, but yeah. That's the way I'm going to go. No more long-legged parlay plays here. I'm going to go short, changing it up.
Yeah, did any of your parlays lose by 1 or 2, or were they all kind of just dead to rights? Like, what were you ever able to get going?
Carl Williams screwed me over. And
You
then
were on an island by yourself with that one.
I was, yeah.
Maybe if you were on the show, you would have been talked out of it a little bit. I mean, everybody kind of, I didn't see the fight, but everybody kind of predicted that one. Like, Carl Williams only shoots for a takedown after he's been rocked. That's what everybody was saying going into the fight. We said that. And yeah, I mean, that's exactly kind of what happened. And Deniz, he's got the stopping power to make that a problem. That's kind of your game plan. But we got UFC 305 this weekend. Your favorite fighter, Israel Adesanya. Dan's maybe one of Dan's least favorite fighters, is going to be fighting at the top of the card. We got all Izzy's buddies on the card as well. And what can we say? I'm starving. I haven't eaten dinner, guys. I mean, this is going to be a card where I got to reach in and pull out the last brain cell I have in my head to keep this thing entertaining.
IP, come here.
But also, I'll let everybody know we got Eric Anders joining the show. Everybody, Eric, your boy Anders, keeping on the show in about 2 to 3 minutes, and we're going to talk to him about his upcoming fight, UFC 309 against Chris Weidman. You guys know we are no longer big fans of Chris Weidman after his last display with the eye pokes and with and we're going to talk to Eric about this. I got to get his thoughts on this because this fight, I didn't realize, Dan, this is the only fight announced for the next Madison Square Garden card.
Right. Yeah. November. Right.
Yeah. So I wonder, to me, it's and we'll talk about this with Eric, but it's the only one on Tapology right now. Right now, Tapology has it 66% favor in Weidman. Obviously, I don't know how that. I mean, Weidman is coming off that broken leg, coming off ESPN documentaries. This is now the third fight since him saying he was going to do one more, right? So, going to be interesting to see how Eric's going into this one. I'm going to kind of let him get his thoughts out, and if I don't like what I hear, I'm going to have to help him get into the mindset that he should be in, because it's clear to me the direction the UFC wants this to go, with it being in New York and all that, possibly a retirement fight for Weidman. But you know what we think on the show? No happy endings. No happy endings in MMA. So I hope that Eric comes in there and stomps a mud hole in Weidman, and it's been historically pretty bad luck for him, right? I mean, he got knocked out by Yoel Romero there. Let's see, what were his other fights over at Madison Square Garden?
While you're looking that up, I just thought, Chris Weidman's dad notoriously, got in the ring and said, "That's my boy," but he's going up against your boy Eric Anders. So I think your boy's got a little bit more carried to it than just my boy. That's a selfish thing. Your boy, he's the boy of the people. We got Eric Anders coming in there doing some damage.
Yes, exactly. Well, while we wait for Eric, why don't we just kind of, for time's sake, hop into some of the 305 breakdown. And, I like your new strategy. I think that you do need to, at a certain point, you gotta just go with what you know, even if that means paying chalk, even if that means just being boring, right? I mean, Chepe Mariscal, Sergey Spivak, those were the two most obvious. I got them both parlayed together at plus 162, I think 164. So I just took the winnings from Yunata Deniz and kind of rolled that into those two fights. And I did it at the wedding while I was pretty drunk. I shouldn't have done it, to be honest with you. I could easily be coming on here, guys, going from minus 200 to minus 500, be worse off than either of these two guys. But I was like, no, refuse to lose. We'll figure it out. Cross that bridge when we get, overdraft your bank account, whatever you need to do to win. And now I got some dry powder. So to take me into next week.
I feel like a national bozy bear.
But let's just for time's sake, we all got places to be, people to see. But while we wait on Eric, let's just take everybody through some of these fights that are on the prelims of UFC 305, our predictions, etc. Right? So, and I bet that as soon as we start, he'll arrive, because what they say, a watched pot never boils. So, we'll start out at the very bottom. We got a newcomer, Stuart Nicole versus Jesus Aguilar. Jesus Aguilar, I believe, was the underdog. Yeah, it's showing plus 185 on Tapology. It's a flyweight fight. Jesus 5'4", Stuart Nickel 5'5". Everybody on the show absolutely would dwarf these guys if we were sitting next to them. But camera adds 10 pounds, so this will be an entertaining matchup, high-paced action to start the night off. We got a finisher. I don't believe Stuart Nicole has ever even really seen a second or third round. Well, he's had the decision here 3 years ago, but over his last 4 fights, knockout, 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 knockout. Seems like he's going to kind of go into a game plan that maybe would be, kind of what Aguilar is looking for. Mexican striker, tough as they come. I'm not loving this fight from a betting perspective. I'm done with kind of debutantes, right? I think especially debutantes that are undefeated, debutantes that don't have a lot of fights. Kind of reminds me of we had this fight last couple weeks ago with that guy. What's his name? Who am I thinking of? The guy who fought Garam. Tattooed up guy.
Oh, right. British guy, tatted up. Damn.
Doesn't matter. Hey, if he won, maybe we would remember his name. But it's kind of like that vibe for me with this one, right? It seems like everybody's going to be quick to pick against Aguilar. He's a Contender Series product coming. But it's like all these, he hasn't really had like the best opponent caliber with Shannon Ross. He knocked him out. Mateus Mendoca, though, took him to a split decision. I think Mendoca's a respectable fighter. Other than that, it's like, well, who is this other guy fought, right? I mean, he doesn't have anybody that he's really of note. So it's kind of a no bet for me. But for the sake of the show, I'm just going to pick Jesus Aguilar. We've seen it too many times this year.
Give me Aguilar. I was leaning to Coley, but I'm switching up to Aguilar.
Yeah, I'm digging this. Triple P certified on an underdog. I like Jesus Aguilar as well. You got a guy who, he probably has a lot of pressure going into the hometown fight. This is in Australia, correct?
Yes, it is. Another guy seems to be from Australia. But what you got to remember is Perth is like 6 hours from the main Australian area. So I don't know if this guy also kind of has some traveling to do as well. I don't know that it's necessarily like a place that he's like, super like. What I think, though, is from what I've heard about Stuart Nickel, from what I've heard is he's a submission guy. He's got a rear naked choke, inverted triangle. So first 3 wins in his professional career, all were by submission. And then now more recently, he's kind of fallen in love with his hands. It seems he's getting these knockouts. To me, what does that tell you? It says, hey, maybe like falling away, kind of like Corey Sandhagen, right? Corey Sandhagen spent so much of his time focusing on not getting taken down by Umar. He looked great in that department. But the gap of attention that it took away from him focusing on, hitting those mitts and getting the hands sharp and focusing more of his time on anti-grappling made Umar look like the better striker. And I think a lot of people would have said in a kickboxing match, the longer, kind of faster, more, creative striker in Sandhagen would have kind of won in that regard. But I think when you take your attention away from one discipline, others, it suffers a little bit. So I'm going with Aguilar. I don't love it. It's not really a betting pick for me. Not one of the ones I'd advise you guys to bet, but I don't like a newcomer at -225. We know that newcomers only win about a third of the time. The implied odds are inverted on that line, -225. But it doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's going to happen. I will say this, and the chalk has been right lately. I mean, how many underdogs won last week? Let's see. I'm going to take a look at the results. So I went, I got 6 correct. Alex got 6 correct. Dan got 6 correct. So we all went 6 out of 10 last week. The favorites.
Was a dog, the heavyweight guy.
Yeah, Yonata Deniz was a dog, and I think that might have been the only dog.
No, the Gregorius.
Oh,
fight?
right. Gregorio. So we had 2 dogs win last weekend. The weekend before we had 1 dog win. So over the course of the last 24 fights, I've had just 3 underdogs, and none of them outstanding underdogs. There's some really big favorites on this card. 2 specifically come to mind. Those are the ones to keep your eye on, because if you look at the really big favorites last week, you had Gutierrez -400 split decision, or not split decision, but close decision, I've heard. Then you had Danny Barlow -600 split decision, right? And that to me is the bubble about to burst. That's the bubble about to pop on some of these really big guys, and it's almost like what it should be your indicator in a way. I never say that I'm just betting like Johnny the Greek, like I'm some actuarial scientist, like I'm fucking Billy Walters, right? I'm not Billy Walters, but I do look at it as an indicator. It's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, right? You poll the audience, and generally speaking, that'll give you the right answer in the board on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. But in a market, the market, I always say when it comes to stock picks, cryptocurrency, or sports betting, the market is schizophrenic, okay? not financial advice. The market is schizophrenic, and people react crazily to shit like that, and they let their lying eyes deceive them all the time. So when I see a line that's getting pushed all one way, I kind of go, okay, hold on. There's a little bit of an overcorrection needed here. And, the sports book has to get balanced at a certain point, right? You can't just have everybody being right all the time. If you could just bet every favorite every week and win, we'd all do that every week and we'd all win. But there's always got to be a market correction. There's always got to be a little steam let out of the valve, if you will, a little bit of air let out of the tires. So this could be that card with all this travel, not only going to Australia for some of these guys, but also to Perth, right? I think that that's like a 30-hour flight. You're going to be spending like almost 2 days in an airport if you're doing this. God forbid you have a layover. God forbid you have a delay, right? You'd be spending a shitload of time. Alex, I might need to eat on the show again. I thought I could do it hungry, but I might need to fucking get a piece of pizza down.
So are you not eating due to a fast, or this just happenstance?
Hell no. No, I had breakfast, and I had breakfast, and I was eating handfuls of peanuts and some red beans and rice left over. Like, I just scarfed down a little bit. And you would think red beans and rice, protein, carbs, like that's enough. Dude, it made me hungrier. Like, I'm like hungrier now off those red beans and rice. And then I had a handful of peanuts, and I was like, all right, that should be good for the show. Just get a little bit of stuff. But no, that's just all of it right now is just burning in my stomach. And it's just like, it's making me fucking feel sick. And I got this seltzer, I'm drinking seltzer water, so it's sparkling and bubbling in my tummy. So you guys I got to lean on you a little bit here. If you see me touch my nose, it means please talk to Eric Anders, because I'm about to throw the fuck up. Throw up some beans and rice. You got to have a hot meal ready for me when I walk in the door. You got to. You know what I mean? And this message is going out to anybody specifically, but I'm saying if anybody's listening, when I come home from work, I need a hot meal on the table waiting for me, or a sandwich. I texted on the way home. I said BLT. Those 3 letters should have been enough, but there was no BLT waiting. I'm almost wanting to check the text. Like, did it send?
Were the ingredients there?
No, that's the thing. We actually didn't have the ingredients for a BLT in the house.
There you go.
That's crazy enough. Bread, lettuce, tomato, bacon. Those are staples. It's summertime.
Bacon's pricey these days.
These Jersey tomatoes are stop sign red this time of year, like your shirt. And like, we should have had those ready. Like, I'm very irritable right now, guys, but we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. All right. UFC 305, second fight of the card.
Ricky Glenn versus Kenan Song.
Ricky Glenn, Kenan Song. Let me see that song. That Kenan song. 21-8, Kenan Song. 22-8, Ricky Glenn. So it's funny how sometimes these records like sync up. We're going to talk about that later with Weidman and Anders. They both have a very similar record right now too. Off just by one fight. It's almost like lazy matchmaking, right? It's almost like the matchmaker, like that to me, that's like the lowest hanging fruit of matchmaking. Well, they have the same record. You know what I mean? It's like, that shouldn't matter, but 34 years old versus 35 years old, 155-pound weight class, 170-pound weight class in their last fights. This fight, I believe, is going to be at, what's this fight going to be at? I don't know what this fight is at. Oh, it's at welterweight. So it's at welterweight. You got 2 over 35-year-old welterweights, so they're both going to lose, because we all know that we all know that stat. 70% of the time, if somebody's 35 and older, or whatever it is, in title fights and yada yada yada. But I find it very hard to count Ricky Glenn out. I mean, 2 knockout losses in a row over the last year. Before that, went to a majority decision draw against one Grant Dawson. Before that, had his own knockout win. Kenan Song coming off a decision loss to Kevin Jussier. Before that, beat Hernando Bedoya. But to me, the Hernando Bedoya decision, he had us all fooled a little bit. Like, this guy kind of sucks. He fights like shit. I mean, he couldn't get it done against Jai Herbert. And you'll remember the card when I recap that. It's like the feints. The feints are what get me. The reset, the rhythm step. Back. Okay, now I'm going to go. Like, it's like, man, I need this guy throwing more than he's feinting. Bedoya, that is. Everybody kind of remembers Kenan Song for dropping Ian Gary. But to me, that doesn't even look as good, because you saw what Michael Venom Page did to Ian Gary. He pieced him up. It made him resort to grappling. So I don't even really rate Ian Gary striking all that well, to be honest with you guys. I don't really rate much he does all that well. So this one's an interesting one for me. I kind of want to go with the American. I think the dogs are going to be barking this card. Last time I said that, every single favorite one except Sam Page. But I don't know. I got to be right eventually. We got to get one of these 6 dog nights. You know what I mean? 3 days grace, 3-dog night, third eye blind. Ricky Glenn is my pick, but I don't love it. I don't think that Kenan Song is going to get him out of there. I think Ricky Glenn is going to just surprise people. This is a sport where surprising things happen. That's my justification for this fight. This is a sport. My first justification was the newcomer thing. Now my justification is this is a sport where people surprise us all the damn time. Ricky Glenn is no stranger to going on losing streaks. He's got 8 losses, but so does Song. Actually, he is a stranger to it. He's actually never lost 2 in a row until his last 2 fights. So that should tell you something. He's never lost 2 in a row except the last 2 fights that he's had where he lost. And before that was a draw. So a draw and 2 losses to a guy that never really loses a lot in a row throughout 30 fights, large sample size. Something tells me Ricky Glenn's going to win. I might be wrong about that first underdog, Jesus Aguilar. He's probably going to get caught with a guillotine, some kind of go-go plata, some shit like that. In fact, I'm going to switch my pick. I'm uncertifying Aguilar. I'm going with the newcomer, and then I'm picking Ricky Glenn as my first dog in the night. So Stuart Nicole, don't let me down. You look better. You look good. Go in there and impress in your hometown. But Ricky Glenn, I always mix him up with Dangerous Davy Grant, right? I always but anyway, that's my pick. Ricky Glenn.
Avenged Sevenfold, Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach.
You like A7X? A7X?
I'm going with Kenan Song. Sorry, not the pick that you're going with. I just think Kenan Song's better. He's faced tougher competition, and he's fared better against all the tougher competition than Ricky Glenn.
China.
Little mouth on him. Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing.
What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think I hate Ricky Glenn fights. You know, you always want to count him out, and then in those times he always comes through. He doesn't look like a fighter. His name doesn't sound like a fighter. But, you know, just when you think you got locked up, Ricky Glenn steals the bag from you. I'm still going to go with Kenan Song here. I think, you know, his losses, both in the UFC and outside of the promotion, have been pretty serviceable. He's fighting the likes of Adesanya and then Ian Gary and Max Griffin. And, you know, in some of those fights, he put up some good performances until he lost. But I think Kenan Song is a solid fighter. I think he's got a little bit more of the tank than Ricky Glenn at this point. You know, he's never lost 2 in a row, but oftentimes in this sport, once the wheels fall off, you know, it's not a NASCAR pit stop. They don't come back on. So I could see a potential 3rd loss in a row for Ricky Glenn, and I'm going to hope so because I got Kenan Song.
Easier travel for him, too. He's done this a bunch. Like Dan said, he's fought Israel Adesanya. He fought Brad Riddell. Where do you think he fought them? Maybe China, but also maybe Australia. Who knows?
You guys are convincing me. But, you know, Kenan Song got knocked out twice in a row and then came back to beat Bedoya. So this could be kind of the same little moment for Ricky Glenn here.
Could be. Could not be.
Like I said, it's a tough one to really sink your teeth into. Ricky Glenn always spoils the show.
In one way or another, I guess. Tom Nolan versus Alex Reyes. Alex Reyes looking to wind back the clock. 37-year-old lightweight taking on the gigantic favorite Tom Nolan.
Brother of Dominic Reyes. Did you know that?
Yeah, and, you know, for a guy in – it's not a brother of Dominic Reyes, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Shut up.
Yeah, they're brothers. Cape Cod, no.
Victorville, California. They both fight out of Victorville, California. That's more of the
yeah.
I thought it said film archives.
Okay.
37-year-old Alex Reyes, 24-year-old Tom Nolan. Now, here's the thing, though. Reyes kind of has that look about him, like that looks like he looks relatively ageless. You know what I mean? Like he's not out here like looking like he's not in shape, right? I mean, and my thing with Tom Nolan is just like, the guy's got 8 fights. He got knocked out 6 months ago by Nicholas Mata, and it's unbettable at minus 1,100, right? It's absolutely unbettable. Yes, this guy's coming off of 2 knockout losses, Reyes. Hadn't fought in 6 years before he just got knocked out 10 months ago. The very fact that this guy took 6 years off of getting knocked out, came back, fought again, and is now fighting again, tip of the hat to you, sir. You know, big balls on you. At the end of the day, fighting doesn't begin when things are going well for you. It begins when you decide to push forward in the face of adversity. So I was just telling you guys about the big favorites last week, making it really close. Everybody's going to be like, oh, just take Nolan first round knockout. Just take the under. That'll get you a better line on this minus 1100 favorite. I'm going the other way. I'm saying expect this to go like Chris Gutierrez. Expect this to go like Danny Barlow. Tom Nolan, who the fuck is Tom Nolan?
The guy who, let's just say, for argument's sake, 90% of his wins come in the first round, and 100% of his losses come in the first round. You're saying he's going to make it past the first round? Alex Reyes. Is that what you're saying?
The guy that what?
The guy who gets finished in the first round or finishes his opponents in the first round is going to go past the first round after a 6-year layoff, and now a year layoff since his 6-year layoff.
Yeah, this is a sport where a lot of weird shit happens. Nothing really makes sense. I'm not looking. Put it this way: when you have to cancel out, how do you make a double negative into a positive? It cancels out. 2 negative numbers multiplied together make a positive number. I'm looking at this like, okay, one thing that doesn't make sense is Tom Nolan minus 1100. The other thing that doesn't make sense is Alex Reyes being 37 years old and not fighting for but 2 times in the last 7 years and getting knocked out both times and still getting a fight in the UFC, right? So those 2 things not making sense cancel out and create a positive. Got to be the plus 700 underdog or the over. Whatever the plus money is on in terms of outcome, whether if it's Tom Nolan by decision, it's Tom Nolan by decision. If it's over 2.5, it's over 2.5. Probably 1.5, over 1.5.
Do you think that the guy might just have a 3-fight contract and has been stalling out? And if anything, the UFC is doing him favors because of how the John Jones Dominic Reyes fight happened?
No, nobody's doing.
If they're brothers, have we actually confirmed that?
They're 100% brothers. I know for sure.
Okay. All right.
Okay, well then who's come back from more adversity than Dominic Reyes? Getting knocked out left and right, comes back, gets the fucking win.
And has a fight against Anthony Smith, I think. I think that was announced.
I'll tell you what. If both of those favorites, the newcomer favorite, Stuart Nickel, and Kenan Song win, look for this guy to just come right out and beat Tom Nolan outright.
You're crazy. I'm going with Tom Nolan.
I'm going with Reyes. Officially. I'm going with Alex Reyes officially.
That's listen, I liked what you said about the 2 negatives canceling each other out, making a positive. I don't think the positive in this circumstance is the Alex Reyes money line, but I think you're onto something with maybe an over. I might be tempted with an over, not even 2.5, but over a 1.5. I might be tempted to play. As far as the pick, I won't waste anyone's time anymore on this. It's going to be Tom Nolan.
For record keeper purposes, Alex, you're good with Tom Nolan as well, okay? So, again, Jack Farr Jenkins, Herbert Burns. Jack Farr Jenkins is a minus 550 favorite after getting knocked out by Chepe Mariscal. And yeah, it was an arm injury, but that doesn't matter. You go in and you don't come out unscathed, you lost, okay? Yeah, there's a lot of ways to win, right? That's like saying, like, you know, you hit a home run and it was because the pitcher threw a bad pitch. It's like, yeah, part of baseball is that the pitcher throws a good pitch, you know? Like, sometimes it happens that way, you know? But that's one of the outcomes that can happen, and it's there's no crying in baseball.
Please take Herbert Burns.
No, hell no. I would not take Herbert Burns because Herbert Burns is a quitter. Herbert Burns is and he cries. Like, to be honest, it's the crying for me. That's why I couldn't stand Bruno Silva after the Weidman situation, crying. It's why I couldn't stand Gene Silva, right? The crying has got to stop, Gene Silva. I mean, you can cry your first win in the UFC. You've come so far, blah, blah, blah. Modelo gave you a choice and you chose the right path. We get it. But no more crying, okay? You're here now. You're established. You've achieved your dream. Stop crying. Gene Silva.
I'm fighting for my life.
I'm going with Jack Farr Jenkins. But a guy who's had 3 UFC fights and Don Shana's decision, Jamal Emmer's decision, this is another one where it's like, oh, everybody's going to take Jack Jenkins' first round knockout. And I think that's actually the lean here because I think, Herbert Burns over the last 4 years been knocked out 3 times in a row by less formidable guys than Jack Farr Jenkins. He kind of quits. What I will say about Herbert Burns is he does a good job of showing how nice of a brother Gilbert is. Gilbert picked him up and carried him out. Gilbert was there to wipe his crocodile tears. Gilbert, a crybaby himself. These guys are emotional guys. Like, we kind of need to stop with these emotional guys in the sport. We got to get them out. Like, you know what I mean? No offense, Gilbert, but Gilbert, kind of a crybaby too, kind of a fashionista too these days. It's all getting tiresome. Would you agree? Can we at least say that? The hairstyles, the clothing styles, the crying. Can we just get that out of the sport?
Get it out.
Okay.
Out.
So I'm going with Jack Farr Jenkins. It's his hometown. You know, nothing else needs to be said about this. And then I am going Jack Farr Jenkins to get his first finish because, you know, decision against Rod Costa. He got a knockout on the Contender Series. Has yet to get his first UFC finish. And I think he's going to be hungry for it. And I think with a raucous crowd, that's going to be the motivation he needs. And, you know, when you visualize it, when you talk about it, and you go forward into the fight, you manifest it. When for Herbert Burns, his focus is going to be don't get finished, don't get finished. Again, puts him in a defensive mindset. Things start going bad, looks for the door. He's just taking this for the free vacation, I think. To the free plane ticket to Australia. He's always wanted to see Australia, I'm sure. So I think he's going to look for a way out. Herbert Burns to get finished in this fight. Jack Farr Jenkins to do the finishing.
By leg kicks. First round, leg kick.
Oh, yeah, right. And we've already seen Herbert Burns wilting to leg kicks. And But my thing is this. We could see you're a wrestler now moment. We could see it. Like, Herbert Burns could decide to kind of throw the fight. He could decide to, I'm going to give him my neck. That's why it's tricky, because it's like, your instinct says Jack Farr Jenkins by TKO. But if you're getting bludgeoned, you sometimes don't want to stick around for the bludgeoning to conclude via more bludgeoning, and you just go, I'm just going to dive in for a shitty takedown and let this guy guillotine me. You know what I mean? And I could see Jack Farr Jenkins, you drop him, get on top, goes for the arm triangle. That's the tricky thing about this. And then you got people going, I never would have thought that he would have submitted Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns is a black belt. It's like, yeah, so is Marcin Tybura. Okay.
Too soon.
You're crazy for that, dude. That was crazy. That was crazy. It was so obvious that Sergey was going to win.
Doesn't the fighter who wins the first fight win at like a 66% clip or something like that?
Yeah, but now the younger fighter wins the rematch. That's what happens. He's a lot younger than Tybura. And when I see that, what I see is the UFC behind the curtain going, okay, Tybura on the way out, Spivak, somebody from, a niche country that we can have in. They love having guys that they can show to the board meeting, right? And they can say, this calendar year, we have paid more money to look at all these countries we've employed. You know what I mean? Look at our global reach. Because nobody at those board meetings knows who the fuck a Sergey Spivak is, right? They just know a flag on a PowerPoint presentation. They just know a bunch of flags on PowerPoint presentations and money and main events, right? Like, they want to keep international guys able to be main events so that when they have their diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness meeting, they can say, look at us. We are so moral. We are diverse. We are a diverse company. Really, it's about global expansion. And so they can sell to the shareholders, hey, we're expanding. We have all this global presence. We got people that are main eventing from other countries. We're scraping the corners of the market. We're bringing new fans in from Europe and this and that. That's what they like to see. So when you got an old guy from a country that they have no problem getting fighters from, you got a Gamrot, you got a Jan Blachowicz, you got a lot of Polish guys. But then, you want to get that more niche guy, Romania, Moldova, all that shit. You want to get him, keep him in the roster, heavyweights. You want to kind of correct if they see him as a possible cannon fodder for a Tom Aspinall in the future again, you know what I mean? Then they want to get him a win streak. They want to get the younger guy winning, right? So they can keep using him.
So Jack Jenkins here.
You got to think like a pimp.
So Jack Jenkins.
JJ the jet plane. All right, now this next one. This is where shit gets interesting. From here on out, I got hot takes on every single motherfucking fight.
You didn't have hot takes on the last three?
I guess they were all pretty hot, but
they were all pretty spicy, I'd say.
Those were flipping coins into a fountain. Those were flipping coins into the fountain at the mall. You know what I mean? Those were Make-A-Wish picks. These next ones are well-studied, algorithmic, actuarial scientists. This is me putting on my tape-watching hat. This is me putting my ear to the streets, TMZ-style information being fed to me, Sean Strickland style, So I got a lot of info for these next fights. Reasons, cold hard facts for you guys. So
For a guy who can't even handle rice and beans, you're eating some spicy picks already. Jeez.
the beans and rice were spicy. There was peppers and stuff in them too. I think that's part of the reason why I'm having such a hard time here. I could have a piece of pizza down here in 5 minutes if I really wanted one, but I don't want to make Alex fucking throw a fit again. Alex has one of those disorders where he can't stand to hear people eat, guys. So,
yeah, it's called manners.
Exactly.
Wish I had a good meme. No. Listen, man, I have so much good stuff to share. Okay, you guys start off. I've been talking a little too much.
All right, Alex,
Casey O'Neely versus Luana Santos. Thanks, Luke. I really appreciate that. You
might want to hear why I listened to this one before you.
On the most exciting fights of the cards, the lady fights, you really give it to us.
You're right.
Take it and run.
Okay, Casey O'Neely is the fade. We're fading Casey O'Neely. King Casey, nah. King Crybaby.
She's the underdog. You're not really fading her. She's a dog.
It's a pick'em. And it'll be more close to a pick'em as the fight goes on.
Plus 135.
Yeah, it says Queensland, Australia. Little girl. She's in Vegas. And from what Sean Strickland told me, we just got done talking about crybabies at the beginning of the fight. Card breakdown. What we have heard, what we've said about crybabies, we got to get them out. Apparently, Sean Strickland says Casey O'Neely is always crying in her car. She's always crying in her car. That's what Sean Strickland said. So, blame Sean Strickland for that, Casey, not me. But you lost to Jennifer Maia. You lost to Aaron Lipitsky. Split decision against Roxanne Modafferi. And Antonina Subchenko, that's, the only person you've been able to beat in the last 3 years. I don't like it. I don't love it. And I don't want some more of it. What I want is the girl who's the finisher. She finished Maria Gapova. She looked great in that fight. Maria Gapova. Maria, you were doing this. Oh, baby, you look great. You were doing this. You punched the air for 15 times before getting taken down and absolutely choked out. I like Luana Santos here. She's the more serious girl, the more dedicated girl. She's racked up 3 UFC wins, all by finish. Or sorry, she took Stephanie Egger to a decision, but a tough customer, tough cookie to crack, tough egg to crack. Over the last 12 months, she's gotten 2 finish victories and a decision. She's won in every one of the 3 ways you can win over the last year. So she's shown she's versatile. Meanwhile, King Casey has 2 losses in more time than that and only 2 fights. So I'm going against King Casey. I'm going with Luana Santos to get the win.
I'm going with King Courtney Casey. She's been battle-tested. Jennifer Maia is one of the most talented women in all of fighting. The fact that she's not in the UFC right now is a absolute travesty, in my opinion. But I guess I should look up if she won an Invicta last week before I make that statement. But anyway, I'm going with Casey O'Neill, battle-tested, battle scars, fought some tough competition early on. Don't really rate Ariane Lipitsky too high, but I don't really rate anybody that Luana Santos has fought that high. I've been impressed with Luana Santos, but you never know what you're going to get with these ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to go with King Casey here. We've had some weight cut issues with Santos in the past. I think going out to Australia, it's not going to be an easy task for her. Of course, it's a lady fight, so any dog here is pretty live. I like Casey. 2 losses in a row. I think she's a lot more talented than a 3-loss-in-a-row fighter, so I'm looking for that bounce back in the market. If we're going off of market statistics here, I'm looking for the bounce back. King Casey at plus 142. Just looked it up. I think that's a pretty good line. Is it, am I really hammering this thing? No, not really, but as one of my few dogs on this card, yeah, I think that's the way to play it.
How much money are you down after last weekend?
I got to update it.
You got to tally it up. You got to go back and count.
Yeah, but it's an easy tally.
And I got a question for you guys. So when you are posting, like for example, right? Like I had minus 200 last week. Then I went up, an amount. And then what I do is I look at how much I've won and I subtract how much I lost, right? But you don't include what you bet. You see what I'm saying? So like if I bet 100 and won 180, I don't add 280 to my total. I add 180. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah. Just making sure we're all on the same page there. Because I don't want you guys thinking like for example, if you have your initial 1,000, right? And then let's say you bet the whole 1,000.
On Amanda Nunes versus...
Yeah.
Retirement.
You bet the whole 1,000 on an amount. So now you're down to 0, but then you win 2,000, whatever it might be, right? Yeah, your amount is 2,000. But once you're in the negative, if I bet 100, right, and I win, so I was down 200, I bet 100 on Yanata Deniz at plus 180 or whatever. I didn't say I won 280, so now I'm up 80. I said no, I won 180. I'm minus 20. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quick
Making
math.
sure we're on the same page there.
Money add then multiply. I call it mathematics.
Okay. So Triple B certified Santos or Alex, you went with King Casey. Dan, what about you?
Also, King Casey.
Okay, I'm on an island by myself here. Josh Quiblau versus Ricardo Ramos.
Josh Quiblau, who is not Jacob Malkoon.
Yes.
I don't want you to think he's Jacob.
Nothing like him. Jacob Malkoon, more of a stoic guy. Josh Quiblau, more of a Jar Jar Binks guy. In a good way. I mean, in a good way. He's like a silly guy, He's way more silly. Way more silly. Alex, thoughts?
Yeah, for this one, I'm going to go with Josh Quiblau. I just think he's the smarter fighter in there. Ricardo Ramos is bound to do something silly. I think that Ricardo Ramos probably has more upside in his career. He's probably more talented if he can just fix between the ears. This is one of these guys who has all the talent in the world, but just something wrong with his head that he always makes a bonehead mistake, much like a Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen is one of the most talented guys in the middleweight division, but he always finds a way to slip on a banana peel. Feel the same way about Ricardo Ramos. Love him, but Josh Quiblau is going to get this one done.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I like Quiblau as well. Man, Ricardo Ramos has a lot of losses on his record. I was just perusing it right then and there.
It makes you wonder when was he the prospect, right? Was it okay? Because he feels like a guy who's like a prospect. I guess it must have been entering the UFC. He was 9-1, and that must have been what it was, right?
He had 3 straight wins when he came into the UFC.
3 wins in a row. Loses to Seyden Nurmagomedov. Okay, wins against Jordan Newsom. Wins against Grigori. And then it's like, all right, so at this point, you're kind of like, hey, he's got 1 loss in the UFC, 2 losses total, and a bunch of wins in the UFC. Then they give him Leroy Murphy. Again, kind of a pass, right? Leroy and the Miracle Murphy undefeated at the time, undefeated now, I still believe. Then he beats, Bill Algeo. But it's like when he loses, round 1 finish, round 1 finish, round 1 finish, round 1, 4 round 1 finishes inside the UFC. So I think that's kind of the drop-off. That's like the descending arc that makes you go, how the fuck was this guy a prospect? Like he's getting finished in the first round.
He's getting guillotined, and he's from Team Alpha Male.
Home of the guillotines. Home of the wrestling. Yeah, and not only guillotine, but knocked out by Seyden Nurmagomedov. Knocked out by he's been in all of his losses, he seems to lose by finish, right? Knocked out by Leroy Murphy, knocked out by Seyden Nurmagomedov. And even when he wins, he had that nice spinning back elbow against Zahabi, put him fucking out. That was pretty impressive. And Zahabi's gone on to look really good, and Zahabi was undefeated at the time. But yeah, for me, this is a Quiblau pick all day, and really it's just about rewarding good behavior, punishing bad behavior. I think Quiblau has had the more impressive losses. When Quiblau loses, it's a close fight. It's when he wins, it's also impressive as like a dog sometimes, or as a closely lined favorite. I feel in his hometown, or his home country at least, I think that he's going to be able to break his, he's 3-3-1 in the UFC, 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw. I think this is where he kind of breaks in and kind of can do more with his career and build himself a nice nest of wins after this. Sungwoo Choi, a guy who just lost to Steve Garcia. I always mix up if it was Suwoo Choi or Doohoo Choi. But so he took him to a split decision. Took Charles Jourdain to a split decision, common opponent there. And took Leroy Murphy to a decision, a guy who finished up. So 2 guys that he that it finished his opponent, he's taken the distance. So I think Quiblau is, like you said, the smarter fighter, the better point fighter, better minute winner. And I think he could even possibly knock Ricardo Ramos out with some slick striking. Love to see the weigh-ins for this, but for the most part, I'm picking Quiblau. Will Trump be certified Quiblau?
Yeah, Kulabau, tough as nails too. Like I'm not really seeing many knockout losses on his record, so there's not going to be a spinning back fist, fluky type thing here. Ricardo Ramos, he's not like finish reliant, but a lot of his wins are coming by finish. I don't see that coming from Kulabau. Guy is super tough, super durable. So
Yes.
I
Kubal gets
think
dropped.
that's the X factor.
Yeah, he gets dropped, hits his butt, pops up, and fucking smiles and laughs and keeps
Yeah.
going. She'll be certified Josh Kubal. I like that one. Junior Tafa versus Walter Walker. Now the Tafa brothers.
Probably 13 IQ points between the two of these guys. And I mean, if you add both of their brothers, it only adds up to 25 as well. So I don't know how that works, but these guys, I mean, there's not much sense between the four Tafa brothers and the Volker brothers either. You know, four of the dumbest guys on the planet, definitely four of the dumbest guys that the UFC roster has ever seen.
They are all oatmeal north of the eyebrows. And they're also, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're a little smarter than we give them credit for, because Justin and Junior Tafa over the last few fights have been pulling the wool over everyone's motherfucking eyes. Okay, so they were both scheduled to fight Austin Lane. They were both scheduled to fight Walter Cortez Acosta. They were both scheduled to fight like Carl Williams and shit. These guys keep swapping out brothers. They keep swapping out. And I heard a rumor that Matt Hughes used to have his twin brother weigh in for him.
Yeah. I heard that too.
That's the world of the street. So genius, hilarious. Spoiler alert! I'm about to spoil a really good movie. So if you don't want to have a really good movie spoiled for you, then just skip ahead 10 seconds. It's very The Prestige-esque of Hughes. One of my favorite movies of all time. But yeah, I'm going with Walter Walker here. I think that he's got more ways to win. I think he's got good wrestling. He trains in Dagestan, I think. Has better wrestling than his brother. He lost to Bresky. Hey, like we said, debutantes only win 1/3 of the time. He's got something to prove, needs to make something happen. I think the Tafa brothers are a bit, they remind me too much of a Mark Hunt style. They remind me too much of a Taito Ivasa style. They just remind me, and even though this is the thinner of the two brothers, this guy I just see as lazy. Only wins by knockout. Got taken down by Mo Usman. And it's not even that I just perceive him as lazy. He was very lazy in some of these fights. Mo Usman takes him down, doesn't even try to get up at all. Only person he's ever beaten in the UFC is Parker Porter, who I respect, but I think Walter Walker is athletic enough, young enough, has that Russian bent to him. He's got 81.5-inch reach, one of the biggest reaches in the UFC, compared to Lil Tafa dinosaur arms. Going to have a 9-inch reach disadvantage, 72-inch reach on Tafa. I think Walter Walker completely styles on this guy. And as long as he isn't like his brother and, just is styling on him, but then jumps for some flying knee and gets absolutely clipped behind the temple and knocked out, I think he's young enough and full of piss and vinegar enough to not get knocked out. Never been knocked out in his career. I don't think he'll start now. Give me Walter Walker. And pretty emphatically, I think he's going to win and make it look relatively easy.
He's much more disciplined than his brother, I'll say that. And I thought he won his last fight against Lucas Bresky. He was holding him down for quite some time. The ref stood him up a couple of times I thought he was trying to, get position and stuff like that, laying some punches down. I felt like if he did punch more, he probably would have ended up winning that fight. But there are gas tank issues. That is the big fear here. I feel like Tafa is going to be able to crack in the third round still. But Volker is a smothering wrestler. The question is he still going to be there in the third round to stay alive long enough to win? I think so. I like Volker. I think that he won his last fight. Like I said, I think that he has a good chance of cracking the top 10 of the heavyweight division. It's not that deep of a weight class. So I'm going with Walter Volker on this one. Dan, what's so funny?
Him cracking the top 10, I don't care what division it is, even if it's the heavyweight, the worst division in the UFC, he's not cracking nothing. I was the only guy to pick Lukey Bresky in the show last time. I'm riding this train until it's no longer. Picking against Walter Walker all day long. I think Tafa in his home country, heavy hips is going to be really hard to take down. That's the only possible way that Walker can win. So, I mean, yeah, the gas tank's an issue, but that's not the only issue. He's got a litany of issues going on here. So I see a Tafa knockout potentially, probably. But no, Walker is not not someone you want to put your money on.
Okay. Well, next we got Carlos Pratis versus Li Jingliang. So we're triply certifying Walker, though, right?
No, I just emphatically picked Tafa.
It's like, oh, that's your takeaway?
I just wanted to give you a chance to switch it because I think you're wrong. All right.
Okay.
Carlos Pratis has not lost a fight since 2019. He has not been finished in 7 years. He has experience against the great Dave Ledoux in Muay Thai. He has experience in kickboxing. He is no stranger to the punching and the kicking and the knees. Knocked Chuck Buffalo, who we love on the show, out with a beautiful knee to the liver in his last fight. Before that, put Trevin Giles away and won his way onto the UFC with a KO against Mitch Ramirez, who you'll remember from, I believe, was he on The Ultimate Fighter? No.
Murderer.
Yeah. So I like Pratis here. He is the favorite, minus 230. Don't hate the line, being that it's a welterweight fight, and he's going to be 5 years younger. And the Leech is going to be, with 8 losses on his record, he's going to be 36 years old at the time of the fight. I'm going with Carlos Pratis all day long. Daniel Rodriguez split decision, doesn't look great. Neil Magny by decision loss, doesn't look great. Only 2 wins, being Muslim Salikov and Ponzinibbio, 2 old dogs. I think Li Jingliang will do better against, guys who are old, but not against a young bull like Pratis. I think the UFC clearly wants the 30-year-old to carry the torch here from the 36-year-old welterweight Li Jingliang. Does Li Jingliang, does he train with, why is this China top team, but why do I feel like he trains with Uriah Faber? Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of
Yadong Song.
Yadong Song. I'm thinking of Yadong Song. Okay. So I'm definitely going to go with Carlos Pratis. Although it was adorable when Li Jingliang had that suit on and was going to fight. Who's he going to fight? Yeah. And yet, no, because Hamzat was going to fight Diaz. So he was going to fight Ferguson. And he ended up fighting Rodriguez. It was going to be Ferguson versus Rodriguez. No, it was going to be, I forget. It was Nate versus Hamzat. They moved Ferguson up to fight him. It was supposed to be Ferguson versus Li Jingliang. He was going to get Tony Ferguson. And then he ended up having to fight Rodriguez.
No, I think he was supposed to fight Kevin Holland, or D-Rod was supposed to fight Kevin Holland. Because Kevin Holland ended up fighting Hamzat that night.
Let me see.
Right?
No, he was going to fight. Nope, it was going to be. I don't know. That's such a great question. Hold on. I'm looking at the Diaz Ferguson card real quick. Going down. Jing Li
Liang fought
D-Rod. No, Kevin Holland was going to fight D-Rod. Li Jingliang was going to fight Ferguson. Could you imagine? You got that great suit on. You're so excited to show everybody. You don't get to debut it at the presser. You don't get to fight Tony fucking Ferguson, who he easily would have probably beaten. And instead, you have to fight D-Rod.
And then you get robbed.
So I do think that this is kind of a nice underdog opportunity for him.
And then you're supposed to fight Michael Chiesa, another easy opponent. And then you get a spine injury. That's crazy. So he's coming off of a spine injury, Liang.
Spinal.
Ooh.
I broke my back. Spinal.
Honestly, I was leaning into the Leech barely. I was just barely over the line of picking the Leech for an underdog pick here. Maybe getting some takedowns here and there. Pratis hasn't been out of the second round. Hasn't really been exposed with his wrestling. He's called the Leech because he leeches onto you, takes you down many times. But a spinal injury at this age, maybe you could stand upright and do a little boxing, but you got a spine injury. You're not doing any takedowns. So, with that being said, got to go with Pratis here. The line is shooting up. Is at like minus 325 now. So, get him while he's hot. Carlos Pratis.
Yeah, he's been sidelined since 2022, that night that he did fight D-Rod. He hasn't fought since then, been injured with that spinal injury. Yeah, definitely too old to come back from that. Give me Pratis. Chuck Buffalo tried to take Pratis down. It wasn't successful whatsoever. So highly doubt the guy from China is going to be able to take him down if Chuck Buffalo couldn't. So give me Prodis emphatically. Can't come. And I love the Leech. I think the Leech is great. I think he's a great character. I wish he would have put the beat down on Michael Chiesa, left him sidelined for a couple of years with a spinal injury so he couldn't beat up on Tony Ferguson a couple weeks ago. But that's besides the point.
Okay, this just in. I'm looking at Eric Anders' Instagram story right now. He's on a plane. His flight got delayed. He was basically flying home. His Instagram story 24 hours ago, it says on the way home eventually, and then it says and he was coming home from being overseas in London, looks like, because he has his passport in the story. And then this one says next stop Houston, and then this one says cardio sesh through the airport, motherfucker made it though. And he's on a plane, guys. He's not bullshitting us. He's confirming on the story. So so no worries, Eric. We'll get you on the show eventually next time. I had all these receipts and shit pulled up to bring on. I was gonna basically show him. I had this whole little story like arc built up. But we'll save it. We'll save it, guys. We'll save it. No worries. I'm actually gonna say saw your story. No worries.
Luke, who was that baseball player you were talking about the other day on the pod?
The good baseball player, the really good one.
Yeah,
Janye Otanye.
I just wanted to hear you say it. I knew who it was. All right, cool.
Yeah, Janye Otanye. He jerked off on the Phillies guy, and that's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Classic.
And he was like, no, that was a dice roll. It's like, shut up. You know what you're doing. Stand on business, Otanye.
All right, so we're Triple P certifying Prates over here. Next up, we got Tai Tuivasa versus Jairzinho Rosenstruck. And I usually don't watch handicappers before I do my breakdown because I don't want to get influenced by them. But happened to see the Guru put his picks out for this early this week, and I couldn't agree more. He says Tai Tuivasa's got too much going on with this Drink West. I mean, Luke's been saying that for the past 5 years, that Drink West is the future. Luke is a big...
Anders hearted it, okay? He hearted it. I said, saw your story, no worries. He hearted it. So we're still cool. We're still fucking cool with your boy.
Sweet.
Where's Eric? What the fuck?
He's on a flight. He's on a flight back to Houston, Atlanta region. And yeah.
You don't got no Wi-Fi on that flight?
He hearted the message. Bitch, you didn't do a fucking podcast on a flight, and you're on the show every week, and you wouldn't do a podcast. I've asked you to do a podcast.
It's illegal. It's illegal to talk on the phone on a plane.
No, it's
really?
not.
It is illegal.
No, it is not.
You will get detained.
Oh, wait.
It is 100% illegal to talk on the phone during a flight.
Then why do they have Wi-Fi?
That's
it's not illegal. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up.
So you can watch porn.
Yeah.
It says it's illegal to use a mobile phone. It prohibits the use of mobile phones aboard any aircraft in flight. Can you call people on a plane? The FAA prohibits the use of phones for voice calls during a flight due to concerns over the cellular network interfering with the aircraft. But there's nothing about StreamYard in the rules. They didn't know about StreamYard in 2001.
I think the Patriot Act covers that.
Yeah, this is good to know. I guess you're supposed to put your phone in airplane mode, but nobody does that. Nobody does that.
I do that.
I do that. I mean, I do it. I do it.
So why'd you say
I'm not taking any chances.
Well, I don't want to get on a no-fly list, but yeah, I do it then. I don't do it.
Bangkok ready.
I gotta get on that. You can't get to Bangkok by boat. Let's just say that. So I gotta be able to get on a plane. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
Alex.
But like I was saying, Luke's been on this Drink West has taken up too much of his time boat for a long time. Luke says Drink West is the next Happy Dad. He's been saying that for years, even before Happy Dad came out. Luke was talking about Happy Dad. I don't know how he's in on the inside Howlerhead meetings with Dana White and Kyle from the Nelk Boys. I don't know exactly what he's getting into when he's on his own, but
because I'm FTA from the area.
Who?
I'm FTA from the area.
Okay, sweet. Whatever the fuck that means. I'm going
Alcohol's pretty good.
I'm going to go with Jairzinho Rosenstruck, even though I really shouldn't, because Jairzinho Rosenstruck sucks. Tai Tuivasa sucks as well. You shouldn't fade a bad fighter with a worse fighter. And Jairzinho Rosenstruck might be a worse fighter. He's less physically imposing. He's a worse version of Cyril Gane, and Tai Tuivasa almost knocked out Cyril Gane. So I really hate this pick. I think it's a stinky pick. I'm going to be pinching my nose the whole time, and I'm going to be praying to God. But I'm going with Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
Well, let me make you feel better about it. The only people who have beaten Biggie Boy, Ngannou, off that crazy fucking tornado of punches he threw at him in first 20 seconds of the first round. Cyril Gane, but by decision. Cyril Gane finished
Jairzinho Rosenstruck.
No. He beat Rosenstruck by decision. Cyril Gane. He finished
Tai Tuivasa.
Then Curtis Blades decisioned Biggie Boy. Volkov, who is amazing and looked even better against Pavlovich in his last fight, looked fucking amazing.
And Tai Tuivasa. Finished Tai Tuivasa himself.
He finished Tai Tuivasa himself. Jalton Almeida, who's 18-2 and,
sucks.
Got hammer-fisted by Blades, but other than that, he's beaten Romanov, Lewis,
Barely beat Lewis. Lewis almost took it to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But that was a rear naked choke. He's a kickboxer. Jalton Almeida is a Brazilian.
Yes.
But if you look at his last fight, he beat undefeated Shamil Gaziev. He beat Shamil Gaziev and made him quit on his damn stool. Beating the fuck out of him so bad. And then Gaziev goes on and wins his last fight against Dontel Mays. Looked like shit doing it, but whatever. So point is, what does Gaziev do to Tuivasa? What does, probably beats him. Tuivasa's only path to victory is by knockout. He's got 13 wins by knockout. But the only people he's knocked out in the UFC are Lewis, Sakai, Hardy, Hunsucker, Struve. And that's it. Cyril Asker, not in the UFC anymore. Rashad Coulter, not in the UFC anymore. James McSweeney, not in the UFC anymore. It's like, yeah, all these guys, he's not beating anybody good. And he's getting beat by guys who are not good. Marcin Tybura choked him out in the first round. Jairzinho Rosenstruck, I've seen him at Nick Diaz Academy. If anybody can take Ty down and choke him out, it's probably, I'm kidding. It's not him. But I think he styles on him for the course of a few rounds. Ty's got a lot to lose here. He's got even more to gain.
In UFC Embedded today, or whatever, the behind the scenes shit. Is it called Embedded? His coach was talking about how he's a much more well-rounded mixed martial artist now, and that Tai Tuivasa, shouldn't just expect a stand-up fight, if I was listening correctly.
Interesting. I thought you meant Ty. I was like, well, we don't need Ty to be a well-rounded martial artist. We just need him to be in shape and do what he does well. You know what I mean? He's not even doing what he does well when he's getting knocked out by, everybody,
Yeah, no, that was for Biggie Boy.
I'm going Biggie Boy too.
Sweet.
Triple P certified, the Biggie Boy. I think he's gonna make Tuivasa's lip explode like Alistair Overeem. It's gonna be a rerun of that. I'm seeing a lot of blood, a lot of violence. I'm seeing Tuivasa try to take him down, but if we go off what this coach is saying, he's gonna be able to keep it on the feet.
No, you mean no.
Position.
No, Rosenstruck's coach was saying that he's more well-rounded now.
I know, but a lot of times Tuivasa, he tries to, bully guys up against the fence, do a little dirty boxing, some elbows from the clinch. Okay. I think Rosenstruck able to flip it around, maybe inflict some damage on Ty from there. So give me Rosenstruck, the 2.0 version.
Beautiful. Trophy certified JR. Biggie Boy, the Surinamese stallion. Next, we got Mateus Gamrot, -260 favorite against Dan Hooker, +210 underdog. 34-year-old Dan Hooker is going to have a 5-inch reach advantage over Gamrot. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Dan Hooker is more concerned about tattoos, more concerned about what everyone else is doing, whether it's,
Islam. He threw a beer at somebody at a rugby game recently.
Yeah, definitely, somebody who ever since I picked him to beat Dustin Poirier and he couldn't beat Dustin Poirier, I'm done with Dan Hooker. I've been done with him since that day. I made 2 picks that night: Mickey Gall to beat Mike Perry and Dan Hooker to beat Dustin Poirier. Neither of them could get it done, and I've not been a fan of either of them ever since. I think that Mateus Gamrot is going to ragdoll Dan Hooker, pick him up, slam him, Kimura him, beat the fuck out of him on the ground. No way Dan Hooker wins this fight. One of my parlay pillars is Mateus Gamrot. Mateus Gamrot all fucking day.
Dan Hooker, go fucking make out with Oscar Willits and go sit by the pub and talk with him all day. Funniest video ever. By the way, I saw this recently. It was Israel Adesanya talking to Demetrius Johnson, and he's like, well, yeah, I beat Alex Pereira once, but they were at Demetrius Johnson's bar in his fucking basement, and he was like, oh, ironic that now I'm the one sitting at the bar saying I beat that guy once. He literally did the same exact thing that he was,
Did he actually acknowledge it in the interview?
Yes, he said, oh, how ironic. He literally said that. So hilarious. But no, Dan Hooker, go make out with Oscar Willits. Go fucking get your own show on the Mac Life channel. And I hope you enjoy yourself and retire and live a great life. But you're going to get fucked up by Gamrot out in the streets. We call this murder. Welcome to Gamrot, baby. Mateus Gamrot all the way.
Oscar Willis, locker room cancer. Oscar Willis, locker room cancer. Get him away from Tom Aspinall. Get this man away from Tom Aspinall, unless you want him to fucking lose. He should be Tom Aspinall's Uber driver, and that's about it. Get Oscar Willis the fuck away from Tom Aspinall. That guy is, and get him away from Craig Jones too. But Craig Jones, he's just out here doing jujitsu. Who really cares? Like what he does? Like it's like he's not out here doing real fighting. Like he might as well be playing chess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But I'm super excited for his event, CJI.
I love Craig Jones. I'm just saying, it's like Oscar Willis is like him having the time of his life and all these interviews, dressing up and drinking beers and having the most fun. It's insufferable, and I hate it.
I hate seeing him smile. Nothing brings me more.
Nothing
brings me less joy than seeing Oscar Willits make little cheeky remarks to fighters and have that little smirk on his face.
And I hate that he gets fed questions first. I hate that he's like in the mix. Can't stand it.
He should be banned from every event after letting Conor throw the dolly.
Yeah, I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I was gonna say as far as I can throw him, but I think he's like 4'11", so I would probably throw him pretty far if I could do it in for example, in like a unified rules type way. But no.
Unified discus rules of the Olympics.
And we're about to break down another guy that we could throw pretty far next.
Well, then, who do you have? Gamrot?
I got to go with Gamrot. I don't know who Oscar Wilson is, but I like Gamrot here. 24-2. Should probably be 25-1. I think he won the Guram fight. But yeah, I mean, guys just taking on the best.
I don't even know who those people are.
That's right. And I mean, pretty self-explanatory here. I don't know if I'll be as ballsy as Alex and go with the finish, but I see a lot of takedowns in the work, so maybe a submission, but definitely a smother fest of sorts. So let's go with Gamrot and Triple P certify him.
A smother fest. I think he finishes him too. Dan Hooker, once he started getting all those tattoos, looking more and more like Megan Rapinoe as the days go on. Dan equal pay Hooker.
That's good.
Another little puppet, Kaikar of France. Don't blink. He never has to blink because his eyes were drawn on his head because he's a fucking puppet that came to life. I can't stand Kaikar of France. Ever since Kaikar of France couldn't show up to fight Manel Cape, but showed up to watch Manel Cape fight, certified bitch, CLB all day long. You had a concussion. Yeah. You always have a concussion. Get in there and fight. You know what you should not be doing if you have a concussion? Loud noises, bright lights, events. You know what I mean? You should be in a dark room waiting. My mom always told me, if you're too sick to go to school, no video games. If you're too sick to go to school, you can't play with your friends when they get home from school. If you're too sick to go to school, you're on the couch with your toast, saltines, maybe a little ginger ale, but you're too sick for school. You're too sick for cookies. And Kai Kara was eating all the cookies at that event with his little concussion. It's literally like Kai Kara France works at a restaurant and then called out of work and then went to the restaurant to eat. Like, that's the equivalent. Chael Sonnen agrees with me. Kai. So you want to fight me? You got to fight Chael Sonnen too.
I've never lost, but I love the balls on my mouth.
So you got to fight Chael because guess what? He's a big, powerful voice in the space. And he said Kai Kara France showed up to watch the fight and he couldn't, I'm not going to put words in his mouth, or I'm not going to put anything in his mouth. I know how much he loves things in his mouth, but I'm not. Chael Sonnen said it. Okay. I'm just reiterating it, but I believe it too. If you're too sick to go to school, no video games. So
from God's lips to your cheeks. What is that expression?
From my lips to God's ears.
That's it. There you go.
From my lips to Chael's YouTube channel. I mean, it's yeah. It's Kai Kara France. He's going to get fucked up by the true champ, Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg beat Pantoja in that fight, if you ask me. I think he drops Kai. I think he knocks Kai out. I think he beats the shit out of Kai. Kai Kara is going down. Kai Kara is getting slept. Kai Kara is getting kneed up the middle into his mouth. Yeah. Steve Erceg, knee to the face, knockout.
Luke, you brought something up. Steve Erceg versus Pantoja. I think that's where my whole cold streak all started off for me. I've been on quite a skid here, quite the skid. I'm gonna go with Steve Erceg. I think this is the easiest pick on the card. I think that this should be your big money play of the night. I think Kai Kara France stinks. I think Astro Boy Steve Erceg is better everywhere. Kai Kara France has no ground game at all. But Steve Erceg, on the other hand, is a very, very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist. He gave Pantoja what for. He beat his ass that fight. And ever since that robbery, I can't get anything right. So Steve Erceg needs to make right in the world so I can start going on heaters again.
Bro,
or Alex Pereira needs to fight. Because that's the only way I win money anymore. When Alex Pereira fights. Good thing he's fucking active. Jeez,
the next fight is...
Hold on there, young whippersnapper. I'm going to go with Kai Kara France. He's going to get this thing done. He's going to shove it right in Lukey and Alex's face. I think he's got more of a plethora of strikes at his disposal than Mr. Ones and Twos Steve Erceg. I don't think Erceg takes him down. I don't think he outvolumes him. I think Kai Kara France can outvolume him. And again, just different kind of strikes coming the way, whether it's the elbows, the knees, different kind of hooks. Again, Steve Erceg, so basic with striking. I love Steve Erceg. I picked him to win in the championship fight. But styles make fights. I think this is a bad matchup. I think everyone's on the Erceg train. I think Kai Kara France, he's definitely well rested. Listen, I'm not gonna support his actions of what Lukey just demonstrated to us. Going, calling out sick from the restaurant and then going to eat there. I understand that. That's in the past. He's rested. He's good to go. And styles make fights. I think this is in Kai Kara France's advantageous corner.
That's fucking illegal.
Okay, next we got the African King versus Israel Adesanya. We got so hot off the press.
Stand-up comedy misdirects.
Hot off the presses from Haymakers. He lives behind the fucking gates of his privileged life in South Africa. We paved the way for him. That's Izzy Adesanya. Wasn't there like an MMA guru breakdown of Izzy where it was like he had
slaves?
He had maids. Yeah, like he had a bathing servant. He got to leave and go to New Zealand, got to go to China, now is in America. And then he even said, I'm buying up New Zealand like the Chinese. Like his dad helped him invest money because his dad is like a rich billionaire guy or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, why don't we just all get along? Okay. Can't we all get along? That's what I have to say about that. But in the meantime, I think personally, you don't get two Super Bowls, let alone 3. Izzy has had a championship run against a lot of opponents to be ended by Pereira. He retook it from Pereira, then he lost it to Strickland. You don't get 3 Super Bowls. You don't get to come back 3 times and win the belt. If he does, it'll be a very impressive feat. My only kind of thing is that Driscus obviously is a chaotic and wild striker. He has a method to his madness, but it's hard to really see through the tornado of chaos that is Driscus du Plessis' striking style at times. I mean, he leaves himself open and vulnerable. I think Izzy
Ring Hunter Campbell. Ring him up. Let's see what he thinks. Call him right now.
I can't do that, but I will text him. How about that? I'll text him.
Hunter, we're live to tape. Could we ask you a few questions?
I think that to me it would be all too obvious if Izzy was more lubed up, if he had fought more recently and not taken time off, he could beat Driscus. I really do. I think he's a special athlete, a special talent. I think that he has this precision striking to knock a reckless guy like Driscus out. But I think Driscus is too hot, on too much of a streak, and I think that he can ground and pound Izzy into fucking oblivion. I think he will get Izzy to the ground and feed him elbows and possibly knock him out from the top. Give me Driscus du Plessis, and it'll probably be by finish because I don't think you take this long of a layoff and come back and can withstand the onslaught. 5 years older, Izzy's 35 now. Yes, a reach advantage, but if Jan Blachowicz can take him down, still not can take him down, and I think he will take him down, ground and pound him out. It's probably the easiest wrestling opponent he's had since Darren Till. And I think when he was on his title run, like fighting against guys like Darren Till, he had more to prove and more of a name to make for himself. So that's why he kind of had to fight Darren a little bit recklessly. But he landed 70 unanswered punches to Darren in that first round. That's the only reason he was a little bit gassed in the later rounds. So I'm going with Driscus. I think he'll fight this fight smart. I think he has so much to lose here. Izzy does too, but doesn't really matter to me. I think Izzy had a lot to lose when Sean was talking shit about him wanting to fuck his dog and all that shit that Sean was saying, right? So I still think he found a way to lose that fight. So I think that it's not going to matter. All the talk's not going to matter. It's the preparation that matters. Driscus's coach, DDP's coach, literally shocks him with the cattle prod if he gets a fucking situation wrong in the training for this. I'm dead serious. So he literally shocks him with the cattle prod.
Luke needs to see Izzy lubed up and Dana oiled up. Just remember that.
So I'm picking Still Knox. I love that he's an underdog, only slightly at this point, but the fan base is also with Driscus. Every meme is like the Chad Driscus, the crybaby, fucking Izzy. It's like, so I'm going with Driscus.
Yes, I am also going with DDP by finish by way of ground and pound. I think that it's going to be the way to victory. I think Izzy's too frail. I think the same thing about Caleb Williams, man. I think Caleb Williams, he's never going to beat the allegations against him. He is a fruit cup through and through for sure.
Bangkok ready.
Watch him talk for 2 seconds on fucking Hard Knocks. You'll see it. You'll see it for sure. Hard Knocks is interesting, very interesting. I was like, that's Caleb Williams' voice. No wonder he was crying in the stands, dude. Could never be my quarterback. Anyway.
I don't even know who you're talking about. Who's the quarterback for?
Number 1 overall pick for the Bears.
Gotcha.
But Jalen Hurts is the man, my hero, always will be. Saw another reel of him resurface. Vanderbilt calling them out. Alabama, you're next. He said, theoretically, we are next on their schedule, and then absolutely demolish them. Jalen Hurts is a true hero, more than firefighters, I'd say. DDP, also a real hero. He's going to get it done by devastating finish.
I saw a video of Jason Kelsey saying that he has a rule in his house. Kylie Kelsey makes him work out 3 times a week.
Yeah.
That's strange.
I can't stand the Kelsey brothers, guys. I can't stand Jason Kelsey. I'm an Eagles fan, but I'm glad, I'm wearing my Eagles shirt today. I can't fucking stand Jason Kelsey. Good riddance to him. We don't need an old fat ass castrated husband. Get him a fucking sitcom. That's where he needs to be on a sitcom. Like Everybody Loves Raymond with his fucking wife nagging him all the time. I can't stand that guy. Nothing wrong with teddy bear. Oh, I'm a big teddy bear.
Well, speaking of people we can't stand, I'm going to go with Israel Adesanya here. I think the guy gets it done, and that's saying a lot for a guy like me who's never liked him. But I am impressed. He's a stellar athlete. I think he's like ridiculously motivated for this fight. He's said that like this is the first time that he's ever been training like an athlete. I don't know how true that is. I think he's just maybe a little bit marginally more prepared than he normally is. He's not eating McDonald's, maybe his nutrition is a little bit on point, but it just speaks to the fact that he is dialed in. He's ready to go. He's had a lot of time off, a lot of time to study DDP. And again, we talked about styles make matchups in the last fight. I don't see Dricus, however you say his name, outstriking Israel Adesanya. I mean, Sean Strickland, yeah, that's a guy who can, maneuver his way in there. But DDP, I don't think so. I don't see it. I'm going to go with Adesanya here. That pains me to say it. As a fan, I'll be rooting for DDP, but this is serious business. We got money on the line, so I got to go with my brain over my heart.
Sean Strickland has lost all Chad credibility as well. He is such a diva crybaby now.
In what way?
Well, he's like, I'm going to sit out and not fight so I can get a title shot. And here's the thing, guys. I really should sit out. Paulo Costa wasn't ranked, and I had a less than stellar performance against him, so I really should get the title shot next, even though Robert Whittaker's fighting everybody and anybody.
Speaking of him being a diva, the headline on Full Mount MMA 2 hours ago was Sean Strickland makes serious accusations. And the accusations were against that guy, Tiki Goshen, who is like the MMA manager. And Sean was throwing out some allegations. So if you want to, if you want to go watch that video, and then, literally there's a clip of Sean saying that the reason that he tweeted that out was because him and his girl were arguing and he doesn't yell at women. So he wanted to get it out somehow. So he started tweeting at Tiki just to like throw accusations at him about him, doing nefarious stuff. And I don't know if it's true. It's an allegation on Sean Strickland's behalf, but check out that video on Full Mount MMA. I like Full Mount MMA. I don't like MMA Focus with the guy that does that guy who looks really ugly. I hate that guy's voice. You know what I'm talking about? No. MMA Focus.
True Gordy?
No. It's a perfectly nice guy. He's perfectly fine. He's like the joke world of MMA coverage, in my opinion.
Sharp. Sharp is attacking.
The suit is kind of insufferably annoying. I don't know how to explain it. I need him to be heard, not seen. You know what I mean? Heard, not seen. Heard, not seen. With all these clip shots.
Like too lazy to try.
Thank you. Well, I would rather see. His voice is terrible too. His voice is like, I think it's like a purposeful kind of shtick though that he's doing.
And I actually like Sean Strickland most of the time, but this time it seems like he's really crossing the line.
Sean Strickland came out and made some pretty serious accusations. And like, I don't know if these are true or not, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like Sean's pretty mad. So we're gonna play some of the clips, but yeah.
And then comedy enforcement. I actually saw Sean Strickland's interview, and I have to say it was pretty funny. He thinks everything is fucking funny. I actually really think Tom Segura is funny. I feel like he says that every. And
Israel said DDP grew up privileged, which is pretty funny because it sounds like he actually had a lot of bathing servants. No.
That's an amazing impression.
Shout out to Too Lazy to Try. You're one of the good guys, but change your voice for the love of God. Just like, yeah. No, don't. I like it. I actually kind of like it, to be honest. But so yeah, these guys at the Perk Play Pursuit were talking shit on me and my voice. And that I'm gonna yeah, he's gonna fucking expose us. Like, be careful. He might fucking expose the shit out of us. Like, see his Whitney Cummings video?
No.
Oh, you guys, you don't know Too Lazy to Try?
No.
Type in on YouTube Too Lazy with the number two, try, and just get watching. Just you'll love it. You'll love it.
Is it MMA content?
No, it's Fool's Watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He covers Brennan Schaub every now and then.
Covers, the Rogan verse. Really good one on Whitney Cummings. You got to watch that one. That's really good.
Let me see.
He covered all the Mr. Beast drama that happened this past week. Luke, your boy's back. Your boy's back, by the way.
I don't have a boy.
The doc, he's back.
The doc is not my boy. I went out to lunch with him once. I never knew him. Me and him we never actually hung out. Me and Chris never hung out. It breaks my heart. But I never actually knew him. Guys, we'll go through our full picks top to bottom. I'm sorry Eric Anders couldn't join the show, guys. He was delayed at the flight and everything like that. We'll get him on the show. And when we do, I'm going to get him so fired up at Weidman, guys. I'll give you a little sneak peek at what I was going to present today. So, actually, no, I can't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I got to save it. But we're going to fire him up, man. We're going to make sure that he fucking stomps a mud hole in Chris Weidman's ass in New York. We're going to tax Weidman. We're going to tax him. The crux of my point is Weidman's one of the good old boys in Dana White's white privilege club. You know what I mean? And it's not a race thing. It's just a willing to play ball, knows where the bodies are buried type of thing. You know what I mean? It's like an incestual pool at certain levels of the UFC. And, if you're in the club, you're in the club. If you're not, you're not. And guys like Nate Diaz, they get fed Hamzat Chimaev on their way out the door. And the MMA gods literally had to come in and interfere. Tony Ferguson, throw him to Paddy the Baddy, right? All these guys get served up the young lions. But Weidman, for some reason, gets mid-30s, late 30s guys like Bruno Silva, Brad Tavares, now Eric Anders, 37-year-old guy. And that's who they want Weidman to fight on what will probably be his retirement fight. They look at Eric Anders, and if you're watching this, we'll talk about this on the show, but they look at you like that's an easy, safe fight for Weidman. It's an easy, safe fight for Weidman. We'll get him a win on his way out the door. They're not looking at it like, you got a guy coming from a different sport. And I'll always grade Eric Anders on a curve. To me, comes from football and MMA. It's not coming from wrestling like Weidman. So I'm not saying Eric Anders isn't an amazing athlete, an amazing fighter. I'm saying they think you're safe. And if you go in there, this is what I was going to say to Eric. If you go in there and you play the whole nothing but respect for the All-American. I love Chris Weidman. He's had a great career. Nothing but respect. Hey, Weidman, nothing but respect. That's playing right into his hand. You need to go in there, Nate Diaz with Conor McGregor. You need to go in there, spoil this fucking party for this man. You need to put him on the back foot and say, yeah, he poked that guy in the eyes in his last fight. We all saw it. He was taking so much. He has a rash on his ass from the MMA community after that.
An eye for an eye, Eric. An eye for an eye.
I want you to put your fucking head in his chest at the weigh-ins and say, you're fucking done. This is your swan song. You're out the door after this. This is your moment. This is the moment, Eric. This is your biggest, highest caliber opponent yet. You put an elbow right through this guy's nose.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to get him fired up. He might never do the show again after the time he comes on, but I'm not going to – this isn't an interview. This is a friend to a friend. Oh, Jose Aldo. I have all these guys pulled up. Jose Aldo. Who'd they give him? Jonathan Martinez. Rob Font, Pedro Munoz, Merab Dvalishvili. Like, those are the guys they have a 37-year-old Jose Aldo fighting, right? Tony Ferguson. They give him Paddy the Baddy. They give him Michael Chandler. They give him Charles Oliveira, right? These are who they have Tony fighting at the end of his career. And they want to give Weidman, Bruno Silva, Brad Tavares, so he can have a super sweet 16 for the 9 millionth time in a row. Nah, not on my watch.
Fuck yeah. All right, let's go through our full picks. Are you ready to take notes, Luke? Do you already have our picks?
I think I already have them.
All right, I got DDP, my MMA lock of the night, Steve Urseg, Mateus Gamarot, Jairzinho Rosenstruck, Carlos Prates, Walter Volker, Josh Quiblau, Casey O'Neely, Jack Jenkins, Tom Nolan, Kanon, and on song. and Jesus Aguilar.
I want to go on record, and besides the Jesus Aguilar pick, from the second fight of the night all the way up to the top, I think Alex has a perfect parlay.
Ooh.
Even against my own picks in some of those situations. And excluding lady fights. Exclude the lady fights and exclude the first fight of the night. Don't give up on yourself, Alex. I think you got a perfect parlay, Bruin. My picks: Dricus du Plessis, Steve Erceg, Tejas Gamrot, Jairzinho Rosenstrike, Carlos Pratis, Walter Walker, Josh Quibao, initials JC. Jesus Christ, Josh Quibao. Coincidence? I think not. Luana Santos, Jack Jenkins, Alex Reyes. Dog of the night. My dog of the night. My dog or pass pick of the century. My dog or pass pick of the century. Ricky Glenn, probably going to lose. That's the one I'm telling you is going to lose. And Stuart Nicoli to round out my picks.
A stat I dug up since we're just shouting out every other MMA show on the fucking on the planet. That should be our new segment, is just stealing their segments and calling them their show titles.
Like
we call this our dog or pass situation.
Uncle Weezy is going to break into my house and beat me with a sack of oranges for picking Alex Reyes, for sure. That's the one. He's going to come get me and tie me up in a straitjacket and throw me in the back of the van and put my head in the oven and put a sign on my chest that says "No funeral." That's like 7 inside Stat Diggers jokes right there for you guys. Go watch Stat Diggers. That's our sister show. And go watch Clint of Die Hard MMA. And he's going to join the show eventually.
That's more of a stepsister show.
Well, in a lot of ways, stepsisters are better. And if you want to talk about getting your head stuck in oven, Clint, watch out. Alex sees you Alex is a little sussy bull. All right, Dan, go ahead.
All right, I got Israel Adesanya. I got Kai Kara France, Mateus Gamrot, Jairzinho Rosenstruck, Carlos Prates, Junior Taffa, Josh Quibao, Casey O'Neill, Jack Jenkins, Tom Nolan, Kenan Song, and Jesus Aguilar.
And the
3 doggies, I believe.
The trophy certified picks are going to be Jack Jenkins, Josh Quibao, Carlos Pratis, Jairzinho Rosenstrike, and Mateus Gamrot. If we don't win some money on some bets before the co-main and main event, Dan, we're going head-to-head, me and Alex versus you. And we're on the fun side of the fence. You're on the fucking everybody has a bad night side of the fence if your picks win. So for the love of God, I hope that
last hardest.
And everything with Izzy is kind of a metaphor. You know what I mean? He always uses metaphor and everything. That's why when he was with Demetrius Johnson, he was like, "Even I cannot help but reference the irony here." wow, life is so ironic, and everything just comes full circle. Even he can't help it because he's like, well, everything is full circle in my life. I am the main character. I am player one. So, all right, guys.
Sometimes player one is drunk at a bar talking about the one time he beat a guy.
And listen, we've had in year 5, we've had 1, 2, let's count them up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This will be our 12th card of season 5. So now we've had over 10 cards that we've broken down. I'm going to go and tally the results so far percentage-wise on just the picks. Then I'm also going to retally the Triple B certified results, and then we'll get back to those Triple B certified Omega Golden picks that went profitable in year 4. The ones that basically what we did was we took our profitability range. So meaning like if we are 65 to 70% accurate over the last 3 years with Triple B certified picks, you take the average of 67.5%. Convert it to an implied American odds, and then we were only betting Triple B certified picks that fell within that range. That's what we're going to have to keep doing in year 5 if I want to really get scientific about things. And I'm a bit of a scientist myself, so keep your eyes out, keep your ass tight, and we're going to get going and winning every single card. Viewer discretion is advised, not financial advice, and entertainment purposes only. Thank you all so much. We love you. Boys, anything else you want to say?
I don't give a fuck.